The book of Habakkuk, a small book, often overlooked. Tucked away in the Old Testament, it holds profound wisdom. But don't let its size fool you. It speaks volumes. Habakkuk was a prophet, a man of deep faith. He lived in a time of turmoil, a period of great uncertainty, just before the Babylonian exile. He saw injustice, he saw violence, he witnessed the suffering of his people. He cried out to God, seeking answers. "How long, Lord?" he asked, his voice filled with anguish. His words resonate even today, echoing through the ages. We too live in uncertain times. We see suffering, we experience fear, we long for answers, just as Habakkuk did. Habakkuk's journey offers us guidance, his struggle for understanding, his unwavering faith in the face of adversity. This book is a beacon, a light in the darkness. For those searching for hope, it offers a glimmer of light. Habakkuk dared to question God, to seek understanding. He dared to ask the tough questions, the ones we often shy away from. And in his questioning, he found something profound. He found hope, a hope that transcends circumstances, not in the absence of hardship, but in the midst of it. But in the midst of it, he found peace. He discovered that faith isn't about easy answers. It's about trusting God, even in the darkest times. Even when we don't understand, even when the path is unclear, even when life is hard and the answers seem distant. And this brings us to Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 22, a pivotal verse. A verse that echoes through time, resonating with each generation. A verse that speaks to the core of the human experience, addressing our deepest fears and hopes. A verse that offers solace, a reminder that even in our darkest moments there is light. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth be silent before him. Simple words, yet profound in their depth. This verse reminds us, God is sovereign. He is on the throne. Even when the world feels chaotic, even when our lives feel out of control, he remains unmoved, unchanging. This knowledge is a balm for our souls. It is a source of comfort, of peace, of strength, in a world that shouts, that clamours for our attention. Habakkuk calls us to silence, to stillness, to listen. For it is in the silence that we hear God's voice. It is in the stillness that we find our centre, our peace, our hope. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 22 is not a call to passivity. It is not a call to ignore the suffering of the world. It is a call to perspective, to remember who is ultimately in control. It is a reminder that even in the darkest of nights, the sun will rise again. This message is timeless. It transcends time and culture. It speaks to the human heart. In every generation, we face challenges, we face uncertainty, we face fear. Habakkuk's message is as relevant today as it was centuries ago. It is a message of hope for a world in need. We live in a world that often feels dark, full of pain, full of suffering. But Habakkuk reminds us, we are not alone. God is with us. He is present. He is working. Even when we cannot see it, his plan is unfolding. And his plan is good. This knowledge is a source of strength. It is a source of resilience. It is a source of hope. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth be silent before him. These words, though ancient, still resonate deeply within us today. These words, penned by the prophet Habakkuk, echo through the ages. A timeless message that transcends generations and cultures. For a people facing uncertainty and fear, these words brought solace. Habakkuk lived in a time of great upheaval, a period marked by chaos and instability. The Assyrian Empire was crumbling, its once mighty walls reduced to ruins. The Babylonians were on the rise, their power and influence growing rapidly. The people of Judah were caught in the middle, trapped between these two great powers. Fear and anxiety gripped their hearts as they faced an uncertain future. They cried out to God for deliverance, seeking solace and guidance in their prayers. Habakkuk's prophecy was a response to their cries, a message of hope and reassurance. In the midst of despair, he reminded the people of a greater truth. God was still on the throne, reigning supreme over all. He was still in control, even when everything seemed to be falling apart. Even when it seemed like everything was falling apart, there was a divine plan at work. The Lord is in his holy temple, he declared, a statement of divine authority. This was not a statement of geography, but of authority and power. God was not confined to a physical temple. His presence was everywhere. His presence filled the earth, encompassing all of creation. His power extended to the farthest reaches of the universe, beyond human comprehension. Habakkuk's words were a call to remember God's sovereignty, his majesty, and his unwavering faithfulness. A reminder that no matter the circumstances, divine wisdom and power prevail. Let all the earth be silent before him. Silence. In a world that is constantly bombarding us with noise, it can be a rare and precious commodity. But it is in the silence that we can truly hear God speak. When we quiet our minds, still our thoughts, we create space for God's presence to fill us. Habakkuk understood the power of silence. He knew that it was in those moments of quiet contemplation that we could connect with the divine, that we could find peace, strength, and direction. Silence is not about the absence of sound. It is about the absence of distraction. It is about creating space for God to work in our lives, to hear his whispers, to feel his presence, to receive his guidance. In the silence, we surrender our need to control, we let go of our anxieties, and we rest in the assurance that God is in control. In today's world, silence can feel like an impossible dream. We are constantly bombarded with information, stimulation, and noise. From the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep, our phones buzz, our televisions blare, our minds race. It can be difficult to find even a moment of peace. But it is precisely in these chaotic times that silence becomes even more essential. We need those moments of quiet to reconnect with ourselves, with God, with the things that truly matter. Finding silence may require intentionality, discipline, even creativity. It might mean turning off our phones, stepping away from the computer, taking a walk in nature, or simply sitting in a quiet room and focusing on our breath. Whatever it takes, it is worth the effort. For in the silence, we find renewal, clarity, and peace. Habakkuk's call to silence is not a call to apathy or indifference. It is not about ignoring the suffering of the world or pretending that everything is okay. It is about finding our strength, our hope, our courage in the presence of God. When we are still and we listen, we can hear God's heart for the world. We can be filled with his compassion, his love, his desire for justice. And we can be empowered to act, to make a difference in the world. Habakkuk's message is a message of hope, a message of resilience, a message that reminds us that even in the darkest of times, God is still on the throne and he is still working to bring about his purposes. Let us find the courage to be silent, to listen, to hope, and to act. Turn on the news, scroll through social media. The world often feels like a chaotic place. Wars, rumors of wars, natural disasters, economic uncertainty. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, to feel hopeless, to wonder, like Habakkuk, how long, Lord? We see suffering on a global scale. Refugees fleeing war-torn countries, families struggling to put food on the table, the effects of climate change ravaging our planet. It can feel like darkness is winning, like the world is spinning out of control. But even in the midst of the chaos, Habakkuk's words offer a lifeline. The Lord is in his holy temple. This is not a passive statement. It is a declaration of truth, a reminder that even when we can't see it, God is at work. He is sovereign, he is in control, and he cares deeply about the suffering in our world. The chaos of the world is not just external, it also rages within us. Our own personal struggles, fears, insecurities, the constant barrage of information, the pressure to succeed, to be perfect, to have it all together. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of our own thoughts, to feel overwhelmed by the demands of life, to lose sight of what truly matters. In the midst of this internal storm, Habakkuk's call to silence becomes even more crucial. Let all the earth be silent before him. This is not just a command for the world outside, it is an invitation to quiet our own hearts, to still our racing thoughts, to find peace in the presence of God. This silence is not about ignoring our problems or pretending that everything is okay. It is about creating space to hear God's voice above the noise, to find strength and direction in his presence. Imagine a small boat tossed about on a stormy sea, waves crashing, wind howling. It feels like the boat will capsize at any moment, but then the occupants remember. There is an anchor. They drop it, and slowly, gradually, the boat begins to steady. It is still being tossed about, but the anchor holds it firm. This is what Habakkuk 2:22 offers us, an anchor for our souls, in a world that feels like it's falling apart. God's presence is our anchor. His promises are our hope. When we are silent before him, when we remember who he is and what he has done, we find stability, we find peace, we find the strength to keep going, even when the storms rage around us. Section 4. Hope's quiet persistence. Habakkuk's message is not a quick fix or a magic formula for a problem-free life. It is a call to a way of living, a way of being, that finds its foundation in the unshakable truth of God's sovereignty and in the quiet confidence that he is always at work. Even when we can't see it, this hope doesn't shout or demand attention. It whispers in the stillness of our hearts. It reminds us that darkness does not have the final word, that love will ultimately triumph, and that even in the midst of the chaos, God is still on his throne. Let us find the courage to be silent, to listen for his voice, and to live with the quiet confidence that he is in control. Section 1. Beacons in the darkness. Habakkuk's message is not just an ancient echo, it's a living truth, embodied in countless lives. Throughout history, men and women, ordinary people, facing extraordinary challenges, yet finding strength in the silence, in the presence of God. Their stories inspire us, challenge us to live out our faith in a world that desperately needs it. We find them in every corner of the globe, across cultures and generations. Their stories, though unique, share a common thread, a deep trust in a sovereign God, a willingness to be silent, to listen for his guidance, and to act with courage and compassion. These are the heroes of faith, whose lives illuminate the path for us all. They remind us that even in the darkest of times, hope has the power to flourish, and that even the smallest act of faith can make a world of difference. Section 2. The quiet strength of Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa, a name synonymous with compassion, with selfless service, with unwavering faith. Born into poverty, she rose above her circumstances. She dedicated her life to serving the poorest of the poor, offering them not just material aid, but also love and dignity. In the slums of Calcutta, she found her calling. She saw the face of Christ in every human being, regardless of their condition. Her life was a testament to the power of silence, a silence that spoke volumes, of listening to God's call and responding with unwavering faith, and responding with radical love, a love that knew no boundaries. "We need to find God," she once said, "and he cannot be found in noise and restlessness. God is the friend of silence. See how nature, trees, flowers, grass, grows in silence. See the stars, the moon and the sun, how they move in silence. We need silence to be able to touch souls, to connect deeply with others." Mother Teresa's life was a symphony of silence, a melody of quiet strength, not the silence of indifference, but of profound empathy, but the silence of attentive love, a love that listens and understands, a silence that allowed her to hear the cries of the suffering and to respond with compassion, and to respond with the healing touch of God's grace, bringing comfort and hope to those in need. The Amish community, a testament to the power of faith and simplicity, living a life apart from the modern world. They embrace values of humility, hard work and community. Their lives are a quiet rebellion against the noise and consumerism of contemporary society. They find strength in their faith, in their connection to the land, and in the bonds of their community. Their lives are not without challenges, but they face them with a quiet resilience rooted in their belief in a sovereign God. Their example reminds us that true peace is not found in the accumulation of possessions, but in the richness of relationships and in the quiet contentment that comes from living in harmony with God, nature, and each other. They embody the spirit of Habakkuk's message, finding strength in silence and hope in the midst of a world that often seems to have lost its way. These are just a few examples of the countless individuals and communities who embody the message of Habakkuk 2:22. They remind us that hope is not a passive wish, but an active choice. A choice to trust in God's goodness, even when we don't understand his ways. A choice to find strength in silence, to listen for his voice, and to respond with courage and compassion. In a world that often feels dark and chaotic, let us be inspired by their example. Let us choose hope. Let us choose silence. Let us choose to be beacons of God's love. And let us trust that even in the midst of the storm, he is with us. He is in control, and he will never leave us nor forsake us. Silence. It's not an absence of sound, it's a presence, a space we create to hear the whispers of our soul, the gentle guidance of God. In the clamour of daily life, silence can feel like a foreign language. Yet, it's a language we're all capable of understanding. Start small, 5 minutes, 10. Find a quiet corner, close your eyes, breathe. Let the noise of the world fade. Focus on the rhythm of your breath, the gentle rise and fall of your chest. At first, your mind might race, thoughts pulling you in 1,000 directions. Don't judge, don't engage, simply observe. Like clouds drifting by, they'll pass. With time, the silence will deepen. And in that stillness, you'll find a strength you didn't know you had. Gratitude is a muscle. The more we use it, the stronger it becomes. It shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have. Even in the midst of trials, there's always something to be grateful for. The air we breathe, the love in our lives, the roof over our heads. Start each day by listing 3 things you're grateful for. Big or small, let them fill your heart with warmth, with joy. Gratitude doesn't erase hardship, but it changes how we see it. It reminds us we're not alone, that even in the darkness there's still beauty to be found. And that in itself is something to be thankful for. Section 3. The courage to act. Hope is not passive, it's not a magic wand, it's a call to action, a gentle nudge, to be the change we wish to see in the world. Habakkuk's message wasn't just about finding peace, it was about being a light in a world shrouded in darkness. Look around you. What breaks your heart? Poverty, injustice, loneliness. Start small. Volunteer your time. Donate to a cause you believe in. Offer a helping hand to a neighbour in need. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, ripples outwards, creating a wave of hope that can wash over the world. Section 4. A journey of hope, not arrival. Finding hope. It's not a destination, it's a journey. There will be moments of doubt. Times when the darkness feels overwhelming, when the silence feels deafening. It's okay to not be okay. Don't be afraid to lean on others, to seek support, to remind yourself that you're not alone. This journey is about taking one step at a time, one breath at a time, trusting that even when you can't see it, God is with you, guiding you, strengthening you, and that even in the darkest of nights, the dawn will eventually break. Keep going, keep hoping, keep believing. For in the words of Habakkuk, the righteous shall live by his faith. And it's through that faith that we find the strength, the resilience, the hope to face whatever tomorrow may bring. Section 1. A timeless message for modern souls. Habakkuk's words, penned centuries ago, still resonate in the depths of our being. They remind us that even in a world of chaos, God is on the throne. He is sovereign. This is not a passive belief, but an active trust, That changes how we live, how we face our fears, how we embrace each day. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let that truth sink deep into your soul. Let it be your anchor. In the storms of life, let it be the silence that guides you through the noise, and let it be the hope that illuminates your path. Section 2, Go forth in hope. Take heart. Dear reader, you are not alone in your doubts, your fears, your longings. Habakkuk's journey reminds us that faith is not about easy answers. It's about trusting, even when we don't understand. It's about finding strength in the silence, courage in the face of uncertainty, and hope. Even when darkness threatens to overwhelm, go forth, live a life worthy of the calling you've received. Embrace the silence, cultivate gratitude, and act with courage and compassion. The world needs your light now more than ever. Remember, the Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth be silent before him, and let hope be your guide.